Welcome to the award-winning Champions Mojo, hosted by two world record-holding athletes and health, life, and leadership coaches. And now, just the takeaways from your hosts, Kelly Pallas and Maria Parker.
Well, Maria, what a fabulous surprise that was. I mean, you know, we've had Olympians, Olympic champions, Olympic coaches, celebrities, all kinds of amazing people. And Brian Bergford was just amazing. And we're only doing one takeaway in our format now. So again, we encourage you to listen to Brian Bergford's interview with us. I rank it as one of my favorites. It was just fabulous. So
it was lots of wisdom.
Yeah, lots of wisdom. And besides, you know, his cool story of having a fear of the water and then taking up swimming at age 30, taking swimming lessons, and then going on to start swimming at 30 and becoming kind of this master's elite swimmer on his way to being a national champion at some point here soon, I feel. He's really overcome his fears, and he talked to us about phobias and fears and how to do that. That's, you know, a really exciting thing in there. But we also talked about dogs and his dog training certification, which had some amazingly interesting talks. So there's a lot, some great stories. Tune in. But what of all that, Maria, what was your first takeaway?
Well, he, as you said, he had so many great pieces of wisdom that I could. One of the expressions he uses, and we talked about fears, is that he likes to assault his fears. Love that idea.
Yes.
But that's not my takeaway. My takeaway if I had to say one, was that he talked about how emotional guests, and what he means about emotional guests are emotions that you have. You can have depression, guilt, anger, sadness, fear, joy, hope. You know, there's kind of the dark ones, and then there's the light ones. And his point was, you're gonna experience the whole range of emotional guests, but you don't have to make the bad ones comfortable. You know, in other words, he said, you know, if you're thinking about these as guests in your home, you don't have to just sit down and chat with depression and give it a beer or make guilt a nice pillow to lay on.
Yeah.
Instead, he said, when if outside your door you see hope and joy and gladness, you run out the door and you embrace them and you fix them a 5-course meal. So I just love this concept of, yes, we're going to experience the whole range of emotions and emotional guests, but we can really spend our time and dwell in and think about and entertain the positive ones. I thought that was a beautiful concept.
Yes, that was a beautiful concept.
What
beautiful.
About you, Kelly?
Well, this one this just really resonated with me because I have fears and phobias, and I loved his phrase was exactly just have a lack of tolerance for your own BS. And that goes with what you said about, you know, kind of kicking in the door and saying, you know what, I'm tired of it. And I think there is a posture that one takes, that I take. Maybe I'll just speak for myself and anybody else who has it. So once you start owning your fears or your phobias or both, then it kind of puts you in this position of subservience and sadness and vulnerability and really weakness. So we're putting ourselves in that position when we embrace our fears. We are weak. We cannot kick the door in. But if you just kind of rise up and say, you know what, I am so tired of always being that person who can't do this because of this fear. You know what, I'm tired of that BS. And like you said, you don't beat yourself up, but you just say, I'm tired of it. I'm kicking the door in. And then to give your strength is embrace what your greatest being is. You know, where are you at your greatest level? What is your highest purpose? You know, what can you do with yourself that's not owning this personality of fear? And, you know, we love working with personas. So you kind of become that person that doesn't have that fear. So that one just truly hit me, you know, in my heart. I didn't need to make any notes on that. I just was like, that's the takeaway that I'm getting out of this show is just don't tolerate your own BS.
I love that. And I've seen you do that, Kelly. I've seen you just say, no, I'm not going to let this stop me. And yeah, it's wonderful. Wonderful.
I think I love the differentiation between fears and phobias because I can do that with my fears. I can say, you know what, that's BS. I'm going to do this and I can jump in and do it. But then I have phobias, which are things like, really ingrained that you probably need some long-term stuff. And, he gave the example of the war vets who have PTSD. You don't want to start
say
setting off
buck up.
firecrackers
Yeah.
and I know, I have the long-term multiple hospitalizations when I was a little kid, and lots of bad bullying and teasing of hospitals and things that I experienced. So I think I have a phobia of hospitals. And I don't know that going into a hospital is going to really like break that. Maybe I can find something else. It's not a fear of hospitals. It's a phobia of hospitals. So that was a little bit of a differentiation. So
that was nice too, because it allows you, if you have a real phobia, to say, okay, this is something that I'm going to need a little additional help. I can't just not tolerate it.
Yeah. So it's a much more self-care approach to that. So what a great show.
Yep.
I encourage you to listen to all of it. Wonderful being with you, Maria. I love you so much.
Kelly. Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Champions Mojo podcast with host Kelly Palace and Maria Parker. Champions Mojo is produced by Cabra Media, and a new episode debuts every Tuesday. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Follow Champions Mojo on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook @Champions Mojo.